Here we go. La 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 la
La la.
la. Come on. Good evening, and this is my second one for tonight. Thank you, Megan. That was really good earlier. It's all about mental health tonight, really, basically, because it's been mental health awareness week this week, and we got Mark here again. Hi, Mark. You all right?
Hello there. I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, we don't mind you having coming on. It's if we've got a little teeny spot, we'll have you back now and again.
Hmm.
Anyway, no, you're welcome anytime. Um, mental health awareness week this week, Mark.
Mm.
What do you think?
Very, very, very important. Just picking up on what we were talking about last week. If it makes one person aware of the importance of talking and sharing, and it makes that person feel better at some point down the line, then fantastic. If that's what comes out of this week, there's still a long way to go for people to feel like they can talk and they can share, and to not feel that they are strange or insane or all those horrible negative things, because it's a perfectly natural way to be for some people.
Well,
And
it's normal, isn't it? It's sometimes when we kind of sorry, sometimes when we kind of like at that time of when people say about mental health, it's a stigma.
mhm,
It's not. It's not a stigma at all. It's someone is suffering from mental illness, and they need help. And it's not I remember someone said it's like they one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Well, that is crazy.
mhm, absolutely, yeah. It's it's nothing to be ashamed of, and I would stand on top of the highest mountain and hold my hand up and say, yes, I sometimes struggle and I sometimes fall, and most times I pick myself up again. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So,
How do you cope with your daily kind of like living, basically, and about getting up? I was talking to Megan just now about it, and she said in the morning sometimes she finds it very difficult to get up because basically she don't want to get up. You know what I mean?
mhm. um, as I've mentioned before, I've had my days and my nights when I've not wanted a morning to come for me to wake up to and to get out of bed for. Um, at the moment, things are okay. I think it's just a case of just thinking to yourself, "Come on, crack on and do something." I think the key to it is having something to do. I'm fortunate that I'm not bogged down with the whole thing of having to get up for work every morning like most people. When what I do for a living is back up and running as it should be, and hopefully as it will be. My working week is Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Sunday afternoon, occasionally a Thursday night, because I'm a singer and I'm an entertainer. So I don't really have you know, I don't have the struggle of having to get up and find motivation to go to a job that I can't stand or I can barely tolerate, or to be with people that I have, that make me feel absolutely terrible. But in the past, when I've had to do that, I've just I've just got on with it, often to the detriment of my mental health. And then it's like, I think I mentioned this before to you. I find it quite exhausting sometimes to do that. And then when I've got home, I've just collapsed and got into bed and stayed there till the following morning. I've just not wanted to do anything. People are different. People approach life and daily life in different ways. I've always been quite frightened of consequence, really. So like when I used to go to school, and I was bullied, but I would still drag myself to school every day. I never played truant or anything like that. And the same with jobs that I've had, which have been very unpleasant for many reasons. I've just cracked on with it.
Yeah, it's harder when you kind of like when you're suffering. It could be anything, can it? Depression or relationship loss. Megan was telling me just now about she's 23 and she's just ended a relationship with her boyfriend, and and the trouble is people can say, "Oh, you're still young, get over it," but it's not really because you still got feelings. There's hurt still in there. You know what I mean?
Well, life is all about, really, when you think about it, life is about the moment now, the moment you're in.
Yeah.
It's not about what happened last week or 10 years ago. It's not what about may happen tomorrow or next month or what have you. So all those things may well come, i.e. moving on, finding somebody new. It's about now. And it's about that whole thing of finding the strength and the courage and the will to dust yourself off. You might not have that strength and will today. You might want to spend the day in bed or in a darkened room away from people, and that's perfectly fine. Nobody should have the right to try and tell you how to cope after something.
Yeah.
It's we all cope with things differently. Some people abuse drugs and drink, and some people, when they've broken up with somebody, will throw themselves into the next relationship or the next fling or what have you. Those people are different.
Oh yeah, I used to do that. I used to kind of like, if I used to break up into a relationship with somebody, I always try to get into another relationship to forget about the other relationship. But the trouble is, what you don't realize is that then you're not in love with that person you're with in the present. You're in love with the person in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're doing it that way, I think sometimes though people have different reasons for getting into new relationships. I think some people just don't like being on their own, and they might not be looking for a replacement or a similar but slightly more nicer version of who they've broken up with. And some people may feel they need some sort of validation from a new relationship, whether it's going to be a long-term relationship or just seeing each other on a casual basis. That person might want to feel that I'm not a terrible person, or I do have something to offer somebody. Somebody might find me attractive.
Yeah, yeah. What I want to do, Mark, is this: that I want to, for the next few weeks, I want to get behind the mental health. The stigma behind it. What is mental health? Because a lot of people sometimes say, "Oh," because they look at mental health and think, "Oh no, oh no, that's not me," and they won't realize that they might have a mental health problem. So what I want to do is I want to kind of like today is to look at a video, and it's about what is mental health. Then I'll come back and we can have a
All right,
discussion about it. Is that okay?
that's fine with me.
We all have mental health. It is just as important as physical health. It is not only about mental illness or mental disorders. This is just one part of a bigger picture. It's best to think about mental health as being on a continuum, rather than people being either mentally ill or mentally well. We are all on the continuum, and we move up and down according to factors such as our genetic makeup and upbringing, our life circumstances, and the stresses we are under. At one end of the continuum, we have mental disorders, like depression or anxiety. And at the other end, we have states of positive mental health, when we're thriving, content, and fulfilled. The aim of mental health interventions is to move people up the continuum so that they're able to reach their full potential and live satisfying lives. The World Health Organization describes mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Being mentally healthy means being resilient and able to cope with difficult times, feeling in control, being confident, feeling good about yourself, managing and expressing your emotions, building and maintaining good relationships. We all experience periods when we feel stressed, worried, anxious, sad, afraid, or angry. These are all normal emotions. However, when these emotions become severe enough that it interferes with a person's ability to function daily, and these feelings become persistent over time, then it can develop into a mental health problem. There are many different types of mental disorders. When left untreated, mental disorders can be chronic and long-lasting, and are associated with increased disability. They significantly have an impact on daily functioning and frequently interfere with family, social, and work responsibilities. Fortunately, there are effective treatments and evidence-based interventions available that aim to help individuals understand and cope with symptoms of mental illness. However, very few people with mental disorders access existing treatment services. This may be due to barriers such as the stigma attached to seeking help, the lack of understanding of mental health problems, uncertainty of how to get help, or the fear of disclosing mental health problems. Research shows that stigma remains one of the biggest factors preventing people from seeking help early for their mental health problems and getting the appropriate support they need. It is important to acknowledge that we all have mental health and have a personal responsibility to learn how we can improve and maintain our well-being in order to lead meaningful and satisfying lives. Want to learn how you can do this? Great news! Why not join one of our communities and keep exploring Maudsley Learning online?
Wow. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it touches on things we've discussed in the past. And before you ran the video, you said you wanted to talk about mental health, and of course, mental health isn't just about the negative things. It's there's positive and as well. There's been mentally well. So talking about how you feel, even you can talk about how positive you feel.
Yeah, of course.
It's all it's all important, and like the video says, you've got don't beat yourself up too badly about feeling bad about something, because things are going to come along in life which are going to knock you for six and are going to floor you. There can be very extreme things: bereavement, loss of a relationship, loss of a job, loss of your house, illness, things like that can just come along, which you will have no control over whatsoever. And you just take that life challenge as it comes, and you deal with it, and you may well need help with that in the form of treatment if it's a medical.
How have you been coping with the because you're like full time, you rely on, because you do the music and you're in the music. So, how have you been coping basically with your mental health when, there's been no work and no nothing, and you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs and everything? How have you been
Um,
coping with that?
well, I haven't been twiddling my thumbs. I do have a few fingers in a few pies, as it were. I'm finalising a book project that I've been working on for a number of years.
All right.
Yeah, I'm writing a book about a cinema building here in Bradford, which is quite historic. It's got a very rich history, and I've spent the last few years doing a lot of research and then doing this book. I've also been doing all the typesetting for it myself. This is what, when some people submit a manuscript to somebody, and what they'll do is they'll take all the writing and they'll create a book template with it, and they'll put pictures in. I've done all that myself, and it's been quite time consuming, and I've put a lot of personal involvement in it, and so I wanted to control how the book looks. So I've had that. The book's hopefully coming out next year when the cinema itself reopens as a live venue. It's been closed for 20 years. We nearly lost it. But anyway, it's still there. So things like that, helping a friend over in America with, how can I describe it? There's a guitarist who died a few years ago, and he played on a lot of my favorite records. He was an American guitarist. He played guitar on Elvis's Suspicious Minds. You can hear him on Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond, Son of a Preacher Man, Dusty Springfield. He was a guitarist over in Memphis in America. And a friend of mine received all of his session diaries. So what we've been doing is trying to match what the diaries say with the actual recordings, and it's all getting published year by year. So I've been able to throw myself into little side projects like that. And of course, I've got two young boys. The youngest is 10 this year. The oldest son, he's 12. I had them with me a lot during lockdown because obviously with the schools being closed.
Yeah.
So I've not really had much time to dwell too much on the fact that I haven't been earning money, because, I've been getting universal credit. I've been getting these self-employment grants. So that's been taken care of. I'm one of the lucky ones, really, because I know a lot of people haven't been looked after by the government in that sense. But as I've spoken to you about before, I have had very dark times as well, though, where I've allowed myself to wonder quite what the future holds. Is it going to pick up again? Am I still going to be singing next year? Because it's something I love doing. But when those moments have got too dark, I've allowed myself to at least explore that as a possibility. But then I've told myself, well, you don't know for sure. So you've got two choices, Mark. You can either continue to paddle in this murky puddle of not knowing anything, or you can choose to think that things could be okay. And that's the way it's actually going. I think the key is to find something to do and to have an interest. But again, you see, that's one of the downsides of depression, because it can leave you with no interest in anything, even the things that you love. The TV programs that you might have enjoyed, you just got no interest in that. Some people don't want to know their family, they don't want to know the kids. So it's all very well me sitting here and saying, find something to do to occupy yourself with. But what I will say is that is the thing that has got me through, and that is the thing that has helped. And it's all that. It's like that thing of having things in your toolbox again, that we've spoken about in the past. You have a choice. You can either rummage around in that toolbox and find something that works, or you can not. And that, that's the be all and end all. Always in life, try to have something to work towards, something to aspire to, a project of some kind. It might be gardening. It might be decorating the spare room, that little job you've been putting off for year in, year out. Cracking on with something like that when you're feeling down. It'll take a lot of motivation and get up and go to do. I appreciate that, but you'll feel you'll feel great when you've done it and you've achieved it.
Yeah. We've got a few questions here for you.
Okay.
Hi, Mark. Thank you very much
Hello.
for the conversation. Really good. Have you ever been into a psychiatric unit and stayed there?
No. I've been assessed mentally. I even had an appointment with a forensic was it a psychiatrist or a psychologist? I can't quite remember the what the second thing is, but that was to do with a child contact case. When I got divorced from my first wife, she was very hurt by the fact the marriage had ended, and she wasn't letting me see my children on my own because she felt that because I was depressed, I posed a risk. I could have at any moment done myself in and taken the children with me, and I had to go and have this very harrowing hour, which cost £1,400 with a forensic psychologist. I think it was a psychologist, and that's it. That was a horrible experience and a horrible time. But that is the most intense thing that I've had to do in relation to my mental health, and the result of that was that I wasn't a danger to myself or my children. I was very, very depressed, and the reason for that was I was being deprived of contact with my children.
Yeah. I had to do that as well. They had to do like a welfare report. It was called.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Yeah. Hi, Mark. What kind of music do you play? Music while you're at home to pass the time away? Some people, when they get depressed, uses music. As a person who plays music yourself, do you play the music or do you listen to yourself or listen to other people?
I don't listen to myself, but music has been like a constant companion to me. I mean, I would say that I was first a depressed or a depressive person when my parents divorced when I was 12 or 13, and I just lost myself in music. I would sit in my bedroom and listen to music. Now, this is going to sound really far out and really strange, but I consider myself to be quite lucky that when I was really, really depressed as a teenager, the Smiths came along in the 80s, and Morrissey, who was their singer, he really seemed, he was like a spokesperson for young people that were going through similar things. So I would read his interviews in the music press, and he would be saying things that absolutely resonated with me. People used to say the Smiths and Morrissey were very depressed and very depressing, and I never saw that. I saw them as quite uplifting, and I saw a great deal of hope and heard a great deal of hope when I listened to their music. And that was, this is gonna sound really dramatic and far out, but I sometimes wonder if I would have survived being a teenager if it hadn't been for that music. It was like a friend. And that's basically continued right through my adult life, where I've gone through highs and lows, more lows than highs, admittedly. And like I say, music calms me down, and I lose myself in music. When I was a musician in a band playing guitar, I would lose myself in what I was doing. Music is a place I can go to, whether it's me playing it or listening to it. And I suppose I also find that place in some of the shows that I do.
Do you enjoy doing when you do all your shows and everything, and you kind of like see people smiling, and they're coming up to you saying well done and all that. I bet that really, really kind of like that makes you smile, doesn't it? That gets you pumped up, and you're thinking that's a good evening.
It does, and there's a bit of a double-edged sword with that, because what I'm not comfortable with is people coming up to me afterwards and saying, I really enjoyed that. You were fantastic. You were brilliant. Because these are things that I don't like to. I find it very, very uncomfortable to be presented with praise, and I don't know if that is a sort of like a byproduct of when I was younger, when I was bullied at school and in my first jobs, where people were telling me I was useless and I was a freak and I was this and I was that and all the horrible things, which I never accepted or believed, by the way. But it just reinforced the view that people, could be, that society was more nasty than it was nice. That was the view that I formed about the world. And I don't know if it's because of those experiences that I find it's not that I distrust them, because I don't distrust them. I'm just very, very uncomfortable. But it's nice to, when I'm on the stage and I'm looking out and I'm seeing people singing along, and then when I've finished and people are shouting for more, I love that. And it is, and anyone that knows me would tell you that I'm not some mad egocentric guy that basks in the glory of what he does, because I don't. As far as I'm concerned, I'm singing these fantastic songs, which I absolutely adore, to the best of my ability. And people have told me that I've made them cry with some of the songs that I've sung, because they might have been very, very sad, or it might remind them of somebody who they loved and lost back in the in the 50s and 60s. Some people tell me, God, I haven't heard that song since 1958. My mum used to play that on the radio all the time, and oh my God, and I've had them in tears, sort of thing. And to me, that is a wonderful thing to hear, because again, music touches me so profoundly and so strongly. And God, if I've got the power to do that to somebody else, even in a remote sense, and what more could I ask for? But I enjoy it. And then there's the other things. I'm working for myself, and I'm not a wealthy man by any stretch of the imagination. I basically have enough money to pay my bills and have maybe when life's back to normal, a couple of pints, maybe treat myself to a CD now and then. But it's that satisfaction of being able to take something that you enjoy, a hobby or whatever it is, an interest, and make your own, and carve your own way through life using it. That's something that I should actually be very, very, very proud of, and something that I should celebrate a lot more than I actually do.
I reckon you should. I reckon you should get your guitar now and sing for us.
No, I haven't got at my guitar.
I'm only joking. Right, what we got here? Cameron. Here we go.
Has your microphone fallen down your chair again? I can barely hear you.
Right, is that better?
Oh, night and day. The difference is night and day. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Cameron wants to know. Hi, Steve. Good conversation. Can you tell me how I can kind of get Mark's music? All right. Okay. Sorry. The music. It was. How can I get your music?
Let me think. Well, I have a Facebook page which has quite a few video clips on. I have a YouTube channel, but the difference with that is I think there's about 2 other singers called Mark Memphis, as we know, Steve, don't we? Because we sometimes play other singers called Mark Memphis when we're interviewing this Mark Memphis here. Do you remember? So I think the best thing to is what I'll do is the little post that you've got with this interview on, when it's on the Crossroads website, I will say hello everyone. I'll put a comment at the bottom, and then if people want to check out my music, they can find me on Facebook. You don't need to send a friend request, although that would be nice. Everything I post on Facebook is completely public, so it can be accessed by by everybody. And I think there's about 20 videos on there.
Yeah. I just get you mixed up. See, that's when I play your music. What are you smiling at me for? It's not funny.
You've almost convinced yourself, so work a bit harder and maybe I'll believe you too.
All right, then, thanks. You can laughing about it.
I don't.
No, you don't. You just let me kind of like play the bloody song. You just kind of let me play the song, don't you?
Well, the ground was opening up before me. I was falling in, you know, I was waving and nobody was listening. But anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah, let's move swiftly on. You can't get this there. Right, okay. Margaret wants to know how long have you been playing music for? And are there any times in your life that you feel that you wanted to give up music because of your mental health? Good question.
That is a very good question. Certainly, the second part of it. Just briefly answering the first part. I've loved music for as long as I can remember. My mum bought me the first records that I ever had were hits that the Wombles did. I must have been about 3 or 4. I can, remember you're a Womble and all those ones, and a Womble in Merry Christmas. I remember my mum taking me to town to buy those, and I would play them on our turntable. And I really, really got into music. Like I said, just before my parents divorced, that was Adam and the Ants. Although I did like Elvis before that. I got into Elvis.
Adam and the Ants. Stand and deliver.
That's on Prince Charming. What's it? Yeah, I got into Elvis first. When he died, all of his movies were on TV, and I just loved the movies. And then I got into Adam Man, and then the Smiths. And then I really, when I was about 20, I really dived into the world of Elvis Presley and collected absolutely everything. I totally immersed myself in Elvis. So I've loved music basically all my life. But I will say that during the last 10 years, especially when I had all those problems with my ex-wife in terms of not having any contact with my children, which fortunately has since been resolved. I have them 4 times a week during lockdown. I had them with me all the time. It was amazing. I have fantastic contacts, but when that was its absolute worst, I had no interest in listening to music at all. I had no interest in any of the things that I were into, so I do know what it's like to totally succumb. As for me ever wanting to give up music, i.e. listening to it or singing, it's not while I've got a heart beating inside my chest. No, I can't ever see that happening.
No, he's waiting to get his jumbo jet.
It's what? It's jumbo jet?
Yeah. You want to buy a jumbo jet, didn't you?
No.
All right. Put your
Well, who would fly it? That's the question.
Your ex-wife.
Next question.
Sorry, Mark. Sorry. Right. So. Right. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. Just a bit of banter, that's all. Rachel wants to know. Mark. I've seen you several times on Facebook with your music. Love it.
Hello.
Would it be possible if I can have a CD of some sort? And how do I get one?
I've got a few tracks which I've been recording, not in a studio, but in my little home setup. Find me on Facebook, drop me a line, and we'll sort something out.
Here you go. And if you're lucky enough, you'll sign it as well. How much are your CDs, by the way, anyway?
nil pence. I would never, ever, ever charge for a CD that I produced. Never.
Well, there you go,
that would be vulgar. Blank CDs cost virtually nothing, and if I can't stump up a 70p stamp in return for somebody's interest, then I deserve to be kicked up and down the high street. I would never charge for a CD.
Of course. So I've got how many have I got on my radio? 2,000 people on my radio now. So I want 2,000 people contact Mark right now, and and he will pay out 70p per person for a stamp. I'm only joking. Calm down. He's having a fit now. Okay. Right, thanks. Oh gosh. Luke. Sorry, Luke. Steve. I was in the psychiatric unit for 3 months on Section 21 of the Mental Health Act. Can you tell me whereabouts were you to? I was in Plymouth at Derriford Hospital, but I was only in there for around about first time I think it was about 6 weeks. Second week was around about about 2 weeks, and then it was like 4 days. I think I did a runner. To tell you the truth, I can't cope. So I did a runner, and they came and saw me at home instead. And but that's a long story. What else is it? Hi, Mark. I love your music. I listen to you all the time. Trouble is, sometimes I kind of find it very difficult to find you. Sometimes, will it be possible if I can add you?
Yeah. Like I say, we'll put a comment underneath this video when because it'll be on the Crossroads Facebook page. I'll put a comment saying hello, and just come and find me and connect via that.
Yeah. So follow him. It's all right. It's a good guy. Yeah. What are you laughing at?
It's a nervous laugh because I don't know what else to do.
You just started to laugh, didn't you? Right then, we should do a comedy act.
Yeah, who would be the straight man?
Hey, I'm not gay. Right then. Sorry. Right.
Facebook police will be coming for you.
Facebook police.
The Facebook police.
I've already had Twitter police. Don't worry about it. But that's another story about that one. Right. Okay. Why is everybody laughing? Laugh out loud. Do you think it's funny, you lot? Laughing. Right. Okay, guys. I've got to go now. But Mark, thank you very much for that. That's really good. I'm sorry about the trouble is with mental health. Let's get a bit serious here. The trouble is about anything to do with mental health. Sometimes, even though that we get really depressed, but all of a sudden we can flip a coin and say, today, am I going to get depressed or am I going to be better? Am I going to, kind of like be good today? Have a good day. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's all about finding a chink of light somewhere, whether it's a visit to your favourite park, whether it's listening to your favourite CD, or having a phone call with your favourite friend who you might not have spoken to for a few weeks because you've both been busy. Try and find something. Just try and find something that you like, something that you enjoy. Treat yourself to your favourite takeaway, whatever it is. Allow yourself, be kind to yourself, be good to yourself. Spend tomorrow in bed if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just find that thing, that one thing.
Yeah.
And it's the first step, hopefully, to a nicer journey.
Yeah. We all stay in bed, guys, and let Mark come around your house and he can do all your chores for you and everything. I'm only joking. Right then.
I'll be too busy posting out 2,000 CDs and going to the post office and buying 2,000 stamps at 70 pence a throw, and then being in debt for the rest of my life.
Well, you did promise everybody. You said that you'd do it for everybody, you know. I've got 20 people want CDs already for you, but there you go. Oh, buddy. What else is it? Yeah, so what? Look, guys, all I can say to you is this: that we did always take things seriously on here, but sometimes we like to have a laugh and everything. But with mental health, you know, all I can say is this: that when you ever feel down, look for the positive in things, because sometimes, you know, we can all kind of like have our moments in life, you know. And my thing is kind of like either, you know, I'm watching something funny, you know, on Facebook. There's plenty of things to find on funny, you know. I'm funny on Facebook, you know. You know, you can find those things on Facebook. Just look on Facebook in the morning. That would cheer you up. When they go, today we got breakfast and there's a fried egg and a sausage and a bit of bacon. That'll make you laugh. But they don't know. They show the tea and their breakfast, don't they?
Yeah. But it gets them through the day. You see, that's their chink of light. You see what? There's beauty everywhere, or so they tell me.
Well, yeah.
And if it's a bowl of cornflakes, then great.
Yeah, of course. You know what? Before I go, I've got to tell you this. This morning, I went out down where I live, and down the bottom, I was going through this country pathway, and I saw this squirrel. I don't know if you've seen the video. Have you seen the video?
No.
Don't laugh. It's not funny. It's true. I'm not winding you up.
Is it on your Facebook, this video?
Yeah.
Right, I shall check it out afterwards. But anyway, don't spoil the ending for me.
I'm not going to spoil the ending. Anyway, so anyway, we were going down, and these squirrels, when you got like a vehicle coming towards you or a person coming towards you, what do? They run off, don't they?
Yeah.
But they let us just stand there and take the video, a live video of them. And you watch the video, honestly, I'm not joking you. It was a really good video. It was, you know. Then after a while, it just kind of like, it's like it posed, you know. You know, just stood there and posed while we were taking a video out of it. Honestly, I'm not winding you up. Honestly, you should have a look at the video.
I certainly will.
Yeah, you should, certainly will. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Thank you again. You know, Mark.
Where's my hand? There it is. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you later, Mark.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Don't forget, guys, you know, 2,400 people, please contact Mark. And he will definitely send you some TV. Bye-bye, Mark.
Bye-bye.